Hey guys, this is Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, if you're new here, we do a lot of DIY type items with a little bit of interest on some vintage items and wanting to get into some furniture redos, lots of stuff like that. So welcome to my channel. Today's inspiration came from seeing this type of vintage item that I've been seeing in antique stores and maybe in some pictures and some people that I've been following on Instagram, and I really thought that I could probably recreate this item for like a lot less than maybe what I could find it. And it's one of those vintage type bigger like spools that maybe they used to have back in the day in like the textile factories and that sort of thing, and they have like the really cool writing on the outside of them, and a lot of people have just been using them in their everyday decor. I'll put at the end of the video some pictures of maybe ways that you can style this type of item, and it's just a really cool little item that I like because I like a lot of the antique things to put into my house. So all of the items that you'll need will be linked in the description box below. I also wanted to mention that I got a scroll saw for Christmas, and I was really excited to get that because I really wanted to start doing some different crafts with that. My grandfather used to use one of those a lot, and he used to make a lot of these like really intricate type items. Now obviously this is very advanced and I don't look to be doing anything like this, but I am starting as a beginner, so I used that a little bit in this video too. If you guys are interested in using that, just a disclaimer, know that I tried to educate myself a lot on using this type of tool. This is a power tool, and to always use the type of protective equipment when you're working with this. And so my project turned out pretty decent for this. Again, I'm a beginner, so I'm going to take a lot of practice to learn how to do different types of shapes and things like that. But I'm always looking to kind of learn a new skill, and I think that it turned out great. So without further ado, let's get into doing today's video. Okay guys, so to start out with this project, what I'm going to start with is this little dowel rod. This actually wasn't originally a dowel rod. I am blessed to be able to have a cleaning crew come and clean my house twice a month. It just really helps me out. And when they do that, they actually have, they bring their own mops that they use. Well, after they get dingy for a while, they throw them out. So I was looking at this one day and I thought, you know, that's a really nice like size dowel rod. I could probably save that and do something with that. So I literally just cut the mop part off, and I've been saving it to use in some kind of project. So that's what we're going to use to make some of our vintage spools today. This one is probably 3/4 of an inch wide. I would recommend like maybe using that. You could probably do 1/2 inch for this project, and you can pick these up at any kind of hardware store. Right now this one's painted green, but we'll be able to sand this down to just get to the regular wood so that we can stain that. So let's go ahead and do our cuts, and I'm probably going to make them at least 6 inches, maybe a little bit longer. So we'll go ahead and do that right now with our saw. So to cut my top and my bottom pieces for my wooden spool here, I'm just going to use this scrap piece of plywood I have. I think this one's at least like 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick, but you can use any type of thickness that you want here. And I'm just using the top of a mason jar to make my circles here, so I'm just going to trace that real quick, and then I'll be able to cut that out. If you don't have a scroll saw, you can just buy these little circle discs on like Amazon or in a craft store. If I can find an Amazon link for them, I will put that in the description box below. To stain these, I'm using my favorite stain. This is Minwax in the Early American stain. And before I stained any of my wood pieces here, I did sand these really good with a coarse grit sandpaper and then a fine grit sandpaper. Okay, so as you can see here, I am working in my little silhouette studio, and I just want to make some kind of text that goes on the outside of these little spools, kind of like they used to have when they would have a stamp on them on the original vintage type ones. So I'm going to create a little stencil here, and I'm just taking this little wording here and I'm applying that to my circle here so that it'll be going around the outside of my spool here. So I'm just going to create a couple little words or different things like that so that I can stencil some different types of text on here. When I'm applying my stencil here, I did find it easier to take my wood piece and just place that over top to try to get it centered the best that I could. So I'm just going to use my Arteza paints here in the charcoal black and just the marshmallow white. And I'm just going to lightly stencil. I'm just using a little makeup sponge. And you don't want to have a whole lot on your sponge here when you're stenciling. That eliminates the bleed through. So I'm just going to apply this onto my little stencils here. So the next thing I'm going to do to assemble these is just apply a little bit of wood glue on both ends and just stick them in my clamps here. Really, that's probably all you need. Like, you probably could stick a little finishing nail or something on the end just to kind of secure it a little bit more, but the wood glue should work pretty well. So that's what I'm going to apply to each ends of this. Again, let this sit overnight to dry. And here's how today's projects turned out. I love how these little spools turned out. I have decorated these with just some different type of textures, some yarn, and the little jute woven fabric that I have. These would be great to decorate for different seasons. You could do red, white, and blue fabrics for 4th of July, or maybe find some strips of Christmas fabrics for Christmas. Either way, there's lots of different possibilities for these. Another idea that I saw on Pinterest is people using these as candle pillars. I think this is such a cute idea. It looks like a little primitive candlestick, or definitely a little farmhouse candlestick. And also, I just love this other idea that I saw, that you can use these to kind of tie back your curtains. I love to add wood textured elements with a lot of my white that I have in my farmhouse. If I was going to make these for my curtains, I will probably make the dowel rod a little bit shorter, but I think they just add such a neat little vintage type element to any room. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for coming along and watching today. And I'll probably be trying to get into some more different things in the future. If you guys are interested in anything certain, maybe comment below. I'm definitely wanting to do a few furniture redos. I have a few pieces here that maybe I want to try to get into doing in the spring. And then also maybe doing a little bit more thrift flip items and maybe some thrift hauls of different items that I might try to use to re-DIY DIY or maybe to use to decorate my home. So just comment below on what you guys might be interested in, and we'll see you on our next video. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day.